Alien Romulus is out now, so the question is this a return to form for a classic franchise, or is it just a lifeless, nostalgic flick? Well, I certainly have my opinion on that, so let's get into it.
Impact event in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alien Romulus. While scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. So I had very low expectations going into this film. I was already kind of burnt out on Alien from Alien Covenant, which, while nicely directed, I thought was just a disappointment overall. In the trailers for this new film, Alien Romulus, it didn't really do anything for me. And then the reviews came out, and many of them were good and positive. I saw a lot of people criticizing this film for just being a film full of callbacks and no originality. It's just a ripoff of the first film. And I believed it. It made sense to me. I think there's been a lot of films like that. And I was ready to hate on this film when I was going to go watch this. I did this with Force Awakens when it was unpopular to do so. I did this with Spider-Man No Way Home. I really don't like films with callbacks and nostalgia, or at least ones that rely on that. But I have to say, now after seeing Alien Romulus, I was not disappointed. I think this film was fantastic, actually. Yes, there are definitely issues with callbacks, and I'll get more into that later, but really, this movie I thought was really the best since the first two Aliens. What immediately stands out to me first from this film is just the production design and the overall mise-en-scène. I mean, right away, you kind of see it in the trailers, but even in the film too, the ships, the technology, the computers, it has that old school 70s tech feel that you would see in the first Alien or even Aliens. And it feels authentic and very used and lived in. And I think that makes the atmosphere just feel more real and more alive, and it feels more unique compared to something like Prometheus, which Prometheus to me never really made sense because it was before the first Alien, but all the technology in the spaceships, they looked very advanced with holograms and stuff. But as a result, it kind of felt generic on a visual level, whereas Alien Romulus, it does feel very visually compelling, even if it is something we've already seen from Alien and Aliens. The filmmaker also uses like mise-en-scène to really flesh out the world of Alien, especially like with this mining planet that we see in this film, which is where the characters live in. All that visual storytelling and plus the script works together to show how do normal people live in this world, and that really makes us invested in this new cast of characters who all feel like, very similar to the first Alien characters. Not in the sense of like archetypes, but in the sense of like they feel like authentic working class people. And the script and the performances and the mise-en-scène totally reflects and embellishes that. I really like the characters. The characters didn't feel like cheesy archetypes that we've seen in other films before. They felt like real people. And the standout to me is really, well, it's not just Rain. I thought Rain was a great protagonist, but also the actor who played Andy, the android. He starts off as acting as a brother to Rain, who has a really warm relationship with her. And he plays it like almost like an adorable, naive 10-year-old kid. And it's really, charming and warm, and you really do like this character a lot. And then there's like a heel turn in the film where at some point in the story, this isn't a spoiler, but he kind of gets like a system upgrade, and he starts to act more like the androids that we're used to seeing in the Alien franchise. And that heel turn is very convincing on the actor's part. He's able to go from very like adorable, naive, and innocent to more menacing and cold and calculated. And to me, that was a standout performance in this film by far. Additionally, Alien Romulus is very scary. I mean, yes, of course, an alien film being scary, that's not a surprise, that's not new insight, but it's how the film is scary. I think, firstly, the film is very scary because the filmmaker really comes up with really cool, unique set pieces and sequences that really enhance the tension of this film. The first one that immediately comes to mind is a scene where our characters are trapped in a hallway or corridor with a bunch of xenomorphs, and the gravity turns off, so it's zero gravity, and it's a really cool, intense, somewhat action set piece, actually. It's something that while I'm watching this, I'm like, why didn't they do this before in the Alien franchise? Like, it seems so obvious, but no one did it, but this film did it, which is cool. And then you have another scene too where the characters have to like really be silent and walk down this really dark hallway full of corpses and alive face huggers who can kind of sense them, but they have to be like super quiet and not even sweat. And that part was like really intense, and it felt like almost like a haunted house, in the best way possible. But there's also like really extreme visual horror in this film, like in terms of like the gore, or even certain creature designs, right? So, which yeah, there are new creatures in this film. I won't say more than that. And it's all really disturbing and messed up, and that took me off guard for this film because when I was going into this film, like I said, I wasn't really expecting it to be that original or more or audacious. I thought it was gonna be more safe. This film was not safe in that regard. However, the biggest drawback for this film is the pacing. I think this film takes a little too long to like get into the conflict of the story or the meat of the story, and it's fine for a first viewing. But I do feel that if I rewatch this film, I'm definitely really gonna feel the slow parts, and a lot of the slow parts are in the beginning of this film. So it definitely could have been a little shorter, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes shorter. I think that would have been like had a huge impact on that. And then lastly, to talk about the callback issue, right? The nostalgic pandering issue. I think it was really few and far between. Yes, I think there were some lines they used from the original films, and I thought those were cringy. It does momentarily take you out of the movie, and they should have cut those out easily. But honestly, it was like 5 seconds combined in a 2 hour total film, so it's not that big of a deal. There are obviously some other references, like a character comes back from the original films, which I won't say who, as well as like narrative elements from things like Prometheus. And I don't know if you can call those callbacks. I guess you could. But it was done in such a meaningful or narratively meaningful way that it feels like it had to be in the story. So I give props to that. I don't look down on that because I only look down on callbacks or nostalgia pandering if that's like the only reason to do it, right? Like The Force Awakens, right? There's no reason to have this in the movie. It's just to make the fans clap in the theater. But in this case, it did feel like it was a meaningful part of the story, which I liked. Having said that, the one piece of like nostalgia callback I did not like in this movie was the ending, or at least the very ending, because it's a very similar sequence to the first couple of Alien films, almost exactly, which I didn't really mind, like I said, until the very, very ending, because almost like the first two Aliens film, it kind of has like that, sequence of, the ship going off in space, a character doing their space log, and it's very open-ended. And I didn't like that. I think Alien Romulus would have been served better if it had a definitive, conclusive ending. Whereas now they're kind of like sequel baiting, and I just don't think this film, as much as I love this film, I don't think this film needs a sequel. I think these characters are, they're fine just being one and done. Having said all that, I agree that Alien Romulus is a return to form for this classic franchise. I really love this film. Yes, there are issues with pacing and callbacks. I will not argue against that for people who really do not like those elements. But for me, the characters of this film, the production design, as well as like the unique visual horror of this film, easily makes Alien Romulus a 4-star film. A film that you should absolutely go see in theater. It's the best Alien film since the first two, easily.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think of Alien Romulus, if you have seen it or if you plan on seeing it. Also, what's your favorite Alien film in the franchise? Hit the like button, hit subscribe. I'll see you next time.